Video 8.6, Writing Linear Equations. In this video, we're going to take our slope and our y-intercept. We're going to start with that, and we're going to write our own linear equations based on that information. So let's think about what we talked about in the last video. We said that slope-intercept form was y equals mx plus b. So, m we said represented the slope, and b represented our y-intercept. Alright, so here I know what my y-intercept is and I know what my slope is, so it's just a matter of plugging in my numbers. So I would get y equals -3 for m, x, plus -2 for b. And now I have written a linear equation for this particular line. That's it. Now let's look at another example. In this example, I've been given 2 points, right? Remember, I need to know what my slope is, and I need to know what my y-intercept is in order to write my equation. Oops. Okay, so this is pretty easy to figure out. If you remember to find slope, there's a couple of different ways. We're looking at a graph, so we can look at it this way and say, well, it's a rise of 1 and a run of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could say my slope is 1/4. I could also solve it by looking at my 2 points, and I could take my difference of my y-coordinates, 3 minus 2, and the difference of my x-coordinates, 4 minus 0. Oops. And I would get 1/4, which is what I found for my slope. So I know my slope. My y-intercept is going to be that point, or what my y-coordinate is, at that point where my line crosses the y-axis. Well, we can see here that that's at 2. So now I'm ready to write an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I could write y equals 1/4 x plus 2, and that would be an equation for this particular line. Now what happens if you don't have a graph? Let's say they just give you 2 points. Alright? Well, again, I need to know the slope, and I need to know my y-intercept. Well, what's interesting here is I know that my y-intercept is when x is 0, so they've given me the point that is my y-intercept here. So that would be 5. Now I just need to calculate my slope. And again, I'm going to take the difference of my y-coordinates, put it over the difference of my x-coordinates. So I end up with -8 over 2. Or if I simplify this, I would get -4. So my slope is -4. So my equation would be y equals -4x plus 5. Because remember, we're using y equals mx plus b. Alright, now let's try it by identifying a line that is parallel to a line that passes through a certain point. So the line they're talking about is the line right here in the graph, line A. Now if it's parallel, I know that they're going to have the same slope. So if I identify the slope of line A, I should be able to identify the slope of the line here. So let's call this line we're trying to find line B. Alright, what do I know about line B? Well, I know it passes through this point, which happens to have an x-coordinate of 0. So I know line B's y-intercept is going to be 9. Now I just need to know its slope, and I can calculate that by finding the slope of this line. Right? Well, it has a rise of 1, 2. and then it has a run of -3 because I'm going in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3. So 2, -3. So I know my slope for line A is -2/3. But let's just test it out by using my coordinates here. So the difference here is 3 minus 1 over -3 minus 0, which would give me 2 over -3. So that's what I calculated. So it's going to have a slope of -2/3. Now I can write an equation for line B, which would be y equals 2/3 x plus 9. So this is the equation for a line that is parallel to line A and passes through point 0,9. If you think about it, point 0,9 would be, this would be 7, 8, 9, about here, right? And if its slope is -2/3, I could go down to 1, 2, and over 3 right here, and I would have a line that's parallel to my line here. So this makes sense. All right, now it's your turn to try writing linear equations based on slope-intercepts. This is the end of video 8.6, writing linear equations.